Hi, this is Jo Painter and welcome to this webinar. So today I'm going to be sharing with you the exact formula so that any career woman can get noticed and promoted in 2021 without having to brag or be inauthentic or having to put on a front, because nobody wants to be having to fake it till they make it these days. And you can be really authentic and still get noticed. And you can do all of this in 30 days because you've already wasted too much time trying to get the visibility and the recognition or the promotion that you deserve. So I'm going to show you how you can easily and quickly make a difference. I'm going to share with you some simple strategies that 90% of career women don't know, and that will empower you to be visible and self-promote without feeling like a bragger, which I know a lot of you are quite worried about. And just for clarity, I'm talking about career women who have had some success but are feeling frustrated at not getting the recognition they want. They just want to know the secret to how to get noticed and promoted. I also want to tell you about the 3 things that career women are doing the hard way. That means they see less competent colleagues promoted above them. I know how frustrating that can be because it happened to me and I genuinely didn't understand why. How could they not see that what I delivered was at such a higher level? But because I researched and found out the secrets, you are going to be able to cheat and do it the easy way. So who is this webinar for? Well, it's for you if you're constantly anxious about failing, being judged, or not being good enough at work. And that means you stay out of the limelight, you go under the radar of your bosses because you're uncomfortable to actually put yourself out there and risk getting judged by others. Or perhaps you're someone who's read lots of self-help books, and I can recommend an excellent one from the picture there. And you've also done online courses, you've Googled how to be confident and visible. And although they're full of great ideas, you haven't been able to implement them consistently because you've just been too busy. So you're still not getting the recognition you deserve. Or you might be confident in your abilities and know that you do a good job, but you're still nervous about self-promoting and sharing your successes. Because in childhood, we're often taught to be humble, to put others first, not to blow our own trumpets. And probably the thought of being judged as arrogant or boasting is very scary for you. And maybe your family, your colleagues and your friends are just getting a bit fed up with hearing you talk about how unfair it is, how other people have got promoted, or how nobody is recognizing you or giving you credit for your work. You've probably told them that you're going to leave, but you've never actually done it. So you're probably feeling overwhelmed with the thought of having to get visible and demonstrate your confidence. Where should you start? What would make the most difference? And what will actually work for you? Well, my goal is for the end of this training is that you have a clear understanding of what you've been doing wrong, what you need to do instead, and the best steps for you moving forward if you want to get noticed and promoted in 2021. You're going to discover the one fact that will mean you can speak up in important meetings and get the credit for your ideas instead of holding yourself back or being interrupted or having colleagues steal your suggestions. I'll also share with you the biggest mistake that even senior career women make, and I count myself in that as well, that are making them feel frustrated and stuck in their role and overlooked. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to get out to as many women as possible so that they don't make the mistake and they don't fall into it themselves. I'll also share with you, and I want you to understand why everything you have tried so far has failed and why it's not your fault. That you can't be held responsible for the fact that you aren't being noticed and promoted because nobody has ever told you to. And if you've been on my webinars before, you'll probably know that a lot of the great content comes towards the middle and end of the webinar. And that's the point where you get real value. So I'd love you to stay until the end, because not only is there valuable content, but I've also got 2 bonuses for you. I know time is precious and I want to reward you for staying until the end. So my gift to you, if you stay to the end, will be a copy of these slides. So you'll get all the things I've talked about today, all the strategies and information. And I'll also send you my ebook, How to Build Your Confidence from the Inside Out. And again, in that, there are more strategies about how you can grow your confidence and get career progression. So I know you're probably judging at this moment and thinking, is this webinar really going to be useful for me? Am I really going to put the effort in to listen to the end? Because everybody does that at the start of the webinar. But this webinar is different because firstly, if you've watched a webinar of mine before, you'll know that I give great value and helpful content. I constantly get messages and feedback about that. And this webinar contains some completely new content that I haven't used in previous ones. Secondly, I'm not going to be focusing on the fact it's difficult for women to break the glass ceiling or talking about unconscious bias. What I am going to be telling you about are the things that are actually under your specific control. So I'm going to be telling you about these strategies that you can put into place and really make a difference. Because I've been there, I've had the feelings of self-doubt, I've made the mistakes, and I've discovered what the answers are. And I've also researched with other women what their mistakes were and what their answers are. So let me start by telling you a story. Now, it's not going to be my whole life story. I just want to put in context for you so you know where all this great content's coming from. So this is a story about how I went from being a nice girl people pleaser to discovering these simple strategies that will give you career success, which I'm now going to share with you. So you might think that I'm very confident, that the way I come across sounds confident, but honestly, it hasn't always been that way. I've had my own issues around self-belief. And in my corporate career, that meant I worked really long hours, probably similar to you. I delivered really well, and I got great feedback from my managers. I was liked and respected by my team and colleagues, but I totally focused on the day job. I didn't build relationships with seniors because, well, it never really occurred to me. I tried to please people, and that meant I felt really uncomfortable saying no to anybody. I felt really uncomfortable talking about my successes, even in interviews, and I held back in senior meetings. I thought I needed to be the expert in my area, and I questioned my abilities. Could I ever be that expert? So as a result, I didn't get the new opportunities or the promotions that I felt I deserved. And it took me much longer than it should have done to build my career. So I've been where you are, and because of my experience and my research, I know how you can change it. But before we get into that, just let me say I'm Jo Painter, and thank you so much for attending this training. As I said, my intention for you on this webinar is to share real life advice that worked for me and my hundreds of clients, so that you too can apply it to your career. So if you don't know me already, who am I? Well, I qualified originally as a pharmacist, but wasn't finding it really fulfilling. So I decided I wanted to climb the management career ladder. But as I said, I had a lack of self-belief, and so I was just being too nice, and this was all holding me back. So I started a very long journey of self-development. And over the years, in the hardest possible way, I struggled to improve my self-belief and my confidence. I tried courses, I read self-development books, I tried to copy the way other confident people were behaving, and it was a really hard slog, taking years, but I did get there. I got to the point eventually where I had a very successful career. I was working in head office, and as part of my role, I coached some of the senior leaders in the business, and I absolutely loved it. So I left the corporate life to set up my business of coaching career women in 2008. And 12 years on from that, I've been researching and studying and working with thousands of career women. The fabulous women that are either successful themselves or working towards being successful. And through all that time and research, I've uncovered the secrets that are essential to becoming a successful and authentic career woman. And they definitely do work. My clients have achieved fantastic results because I've worked with senior career women at very different levels in very different industries, and it does absolutely work. I can assure you that these things are essential to getting a successful career. And the kind of results my clients have got are not only achieving promotions and pay rises, some of them went on to executive roles in big global organizations. Others have made dramatic career changes, from being on the board of a FTSE 100 company to managing a small charity. Because people do different things with their career and their life when they have that unshakable confidence. And my strategies give people that confidence so that they can go on to have career success, whatever that means to them. And for example, this is a testimonial I was given. Joe, the program has exceeded my expectation. I expected tips and strategies, but what it's also given me is a total change of mindset. I'm calmer, braver, and curious rather than stressed or intimidated. I'm optimistic that these changes will stay with me. Thank you. And thank you, Susanna, for your testimonial. So, there are 3 things that I and most career women did the hard way that keeps them stuck and overlooked. But the good news is that you're going to understand how to avoid these things so that you can cheat and do it the easy way. Because I've sort of got a mission now to help other women understand about the things to avoid and the things to do. And the more I can get that message out to career women to prevent them from falling into the same mistakes, it's really important to me. So, hard way number 1, which is something I've definitely done. And this is where you need to start taking notes to record the things you should be doing and those that you need to avoid. I've done all the heavy lifting work for you here. So I've pulled together the research, and all you need to do is not miss out. Now, I expected to get recognition to just come to me. That if you work hard and deliver well at high standard, you'll automatically be rewarded with a promotion, a pay rise, or a new job. But that doesn't work anymore. It might have got you to a certain level with the business you work in, but it doesn't get you to the higher levels that are necessary. These days, you've got to do more than just deliver at a really high standard. You can't get away with focusing on the day job and doing nothing else. That's where I went wrong. I sat back and let others butter up the senior leaders and speak up with obvious comments in meetings. But they got the last laugh as they talked at a good job and got the new opportunities and promotions that I missed out on. Because you may think that your boss knows everything that you achieve, but I promise you they don't. They're too busy focusing on their job to follow all the work that you do. So remember that your success and promotions are not just going to come to you. You need to actually take action. So, hard way number 2, feeling like an imposter. I remember that feeling, and I know a lot of my clients do. This imposter syndrome is when you believe you only got where you are today by luck or really hard work, and that you're going to be found out soon as being an imposter. It happens when you listen to your inner critical voice about not being good enough, or you don't even try to get noticed or promoted. Because we naturally look for evidence to reinforce our negative thoughts. So if someone else is promoted before you, you'll see that as evidence that the senior managers think you're not good enough. Or if an idea of yours isn't picked up in a meeting, you assume it's because it was yours and they don't think your ideas are enough, you don't know enough. And that's the kind of inner critical talking that means that your imposter takes over and you question and you doubt yourself. But you don't have to do it that way. Hard way number 3. This is about not asking. It always amazes me how many wonderful women who believe that they are ready to have a promotion or a pay rise don't actually ask for it, or don't ask for it in the right way. They believe it won't happen because of the culture of the company, because of unconscious bias, or because of the people that they work with. But they would rather blame others than do something that feels uncomfortable to them. In fact, 43% of men are happy to ask for a pay rise, but only 22% of women. Why is that? Because when they do ask, 75% get a yes. So do you recognize yourself in any of those hard ways? Or do you recognize yourself in some of these mindsets? For example, having a really high expectations of yourself means that you're never able to really achieve the things that you should have. Your standards are so high. And that can lead you to procrastinate. You spend so much time on it that you've got no time for anything else. And it can make you feel like you're going to fail very soon because you've got such high expectations. Another mindset that can hold people back is believing that you're a better person for not sharing your successes and not being pushy and not always talking about yourself. But it doesn't make you a better person. That's just another avoidance excuse because it feels uncomfortable to you. Other mindsets are just not realizing that you are good enough as you are. And wanting to please other people or never say no, that's very much a mindset that keeps you trapped where you are, possibly doing work for other people, not speaking up for what you need, and not asking for help or support because you just want to keep everybody else happy. And finally, another mindset that will keep you stuck and frustrated is thinking you need to be the expert. It really stops women speaking up in meetings because they believe if not, well, and men actually as well, if they're not 100% correct in what they say, they don't want to say it in case they get judged and look stupid. But don't worry, because I have identified the one thing that is essential for successful career progression. And it's something that 90% of career women themselves aren't doing. It's staying behind your desk and working hard won't get you the reward and recognition you deserve. You need to master the art of being noticed and promoted. Just like any other skill, you need to master this for your role. So rather than seeing it as something I'll do when I've got the time or staying behind at my desk, working hard and delivering well, you need to master the art of getting noticed and promoted as well. It needs to be a priority in the way that you deliver your role. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck and frustrated. Your self-belief will continue to be worn down and it'll be really, really frustrating. So once you're able to master the art of being noticed and promoted, and you've got yourself to a confident place where you feel full of self-belief and you're visible in your career, that's the point when your career starts to fly. And that's what I know all successful career women have done. They don't just sit and deliver well and keep themselves under the radar. They're out there, confident and visible. That's making the big difference. But don't worry, because I'm going to share with you exactly how you can move from being stuck where you are now to being noticed and promoted. And you can do that in just 30 days. So here are the 3 secrets of my Get Noticed and Promoted formula so that you can have your best career year yet in 2021. Even if you feel uncomfortable about being noticed and you don't know where to start. So secret number 1, to go from an inner critic to an inner nurturer. And what I mean by that is your inner critical voice is the one that holds you back and knocks your confidence. Now, it might say ideas to you such as, "Ooh, Steve is much better than you. He's bound to get the promotion. It's not even worth you trying." Or, "Ooh, you didn't do that client pitch perfectly. You need to get better at doing those before you even consider moving up." "Ooh, look at Steve over there smiling up to the boss. At least I'm staying here to get my work finished, and that's what matters." Or a few more. "It's not nice to talk yourself up. You'll just sound like you're boasting. Don't do it." Or, "You need to listen and agree with people who have more seniority or experience." Or, "I would just stay under the radar. Work hard and don't take any risks." So you can see that not always is an inner critic harsh. Quite often they are really harsh and you wouldn't speak to anybody like that. But other times they're quite persuasive. "Oh no, you stay in just where you are. You're nice and comfortable," trying to stop you change or move anywhere that could be at all risky. But the biggest problem with your inner critic is it sounds like it's trying to keep you safe and protect you from failing, when actually it's keeping you stuck and frustrated. Instead, you need to listen to your inner nurturer. And yes, you do absolutely have one. This is the voice of reality and compassion. Your inner nurturer is always there, but she's just not heard over those really loud shouts of the inner critic. Now, she may take some of those things that your inner critic said and say instead, "Do you want this promotion, Joe? Yes, and I know it sounds scary and Steve's got more experience than you, but let's look at your experience versus the job description." Or, "You got great feedback on that client pitch. Okay, so there were some things you could improve on, but you got great feedback. Well done. Steve's talking to your boss about his project. Don't you think it's time you went and updated him on yours? I know you're ridiculously busy, but it would be worth putting the time in." And some more. "Just update him on how you overcame the budget issue. He'll be interested in that, and it's just informing him. You're not boasting." Okay, I get it. You don't want to disagree with director, but how about you ask for clarity on his points rather than actually disagreeing? Or, "I know you want to not take any risks and stay behind your best, but that isn't really working for you, is it?" So can you see how the inner nurturer, when you bring that one out as if you were talking to a child almost, with reality and compassion, will encourage you to do more positive things rather than listening to the harsh inner critic? So how do I zone out my critic and listen to my nurturer? Well, to do that, you need to identify when your inner critic shouts the loudest. Then what it's saying to you, so what are the exact words your inner critic is saying? And finally, to do an evidence and reality check with it. So for example, when we said Steve is much better than you, he's bound to get the promotion, it's not worth trying. So is there any truth in this? Is there any evidence to back up that Steve is much better than you? He's got more experience, but does that mean he's better than you? And even if you believe that, couldn't you still go for the job as a learning opportunity at the worst? Because when you turn down the dial on your inner critic, your inner nurturer will pop up because your mind is clear. So it's worth actually visualizing yourself when your inner critic is shouting away in your head to turn a dial, like on an old radio, down and turn down the volume on your inner critic. Because that allows the quieter inner nurturer to come up with things that are really positive and supportive for you. So let me tell you about Jane and her inner critic. Well, Jane worked for a large pharmaceutical company. She'd achieved some career success, but it had been a real battle with her inner critic the whole way. Her inner critic would say things to undermine her all the time, such as, "What on earth did you say that for? They'll think you're completely stupid." Or, "There's no need to tell your boss about how difficult that client was and how you won them over. Why on earth would he be interested in that?" She also found it continued at home with things like, "You're failing at everything, Jane. The house is dirty, the kids are on devices, and you've got hundreds of emails." How harsh is that for an inner critic? So we worked together on exploring Jane's inner critic, and she actually recognized it as a particular version of her mum. And we worked on her challenging it and turned it up the dial on her nurture. And interestingly, now when she hears it, it actually makes her laugh. And she can't believe that she used to believe every single word that it said. So you absolutely can turn down the volume on your inner critic and up the volume on your inner nurturer. So the second secret I want to share with you today is about sharing your successes. And by that, I mean self-promotion. So self-promotion is an uncomfortable word for a lot of people. And when I say the word to my clients, I'll get reactions like, "Ooh, that feels yucky," or "I'm scared to do that," or "I'd never do that." It's really just boasting and bragging. It's not unnecessary. I don't really need to do it. My delivery is going to speak for itself. But if you don't self-promote, you go under the radar of the people that matter to your future career. And that's when you find other less competent people are being promoted or getting the opportunities that you want. But it really doesn't mean you have to do it in a way that sounds boasting and bragging. So you may be doing a fantastic job, but if people don't know about you, and if people haven't heard about you, then you're not going to be seen. And you're not going to give the benefit that your work and your potential can give, not just to you, but to the business and to the other people around you. And do you want to spend the next years of your career wondering what would have happened if I'd actually shared what I was achieving, or if I'd been more visible? What could I have achieved then? So the kind of mindset I get from clients who are struggling with this is, "I really hate it when people brag about what they've done, and you will not catch me doing it." Or, "Why would anybody be interested in the stuff I've achieved?" Or, "The important people know what I've done." So just because you've heard other people bragging and it sounded awful doesn't mean you have to do it that way. In fact, all you're doing is self-sabotaging yourself. None of that is true. You're using it as an excuse to prevent you from having to be visible. So you need to stop worrying about what other people think, stop overthinking it and comparing yourself with others, and instead focus on just sharing your success in a genuine, supportive and authentic way. So the big question I get asked about self-promotion is, what should I promote about myself? Well, you are your own brand and you've got to promote yourself, but knowing that is important. So knowing what your personal brand is an important place to start before you start to share your successes. And your own personal brand is made up of your values, your strengths, your personality, and the legacy you want to leave. So have a think about what that is and how you can share your successes that go along with that brand. You can share your potential as well, and you can share what your values are and what your strengths are. And when I've worked with clients on their personal brand and the get noticed and promoted formula, the type of things they say is, "I found a way to share my successes that isn't bragging and is helpful to others. I know what I want people to remember me for when I leave a meeting. And my boss knew I delivered, but not how I did it and the issues I had to overcome." So they're actually promoting and sharing not just what they've achieved, but the journey that they went on to get there. So what I'm suggesting here is that I know you're struggling with your inner critic. And I know you're uncomfortable with what other people think of you. But if you want to have the success that's important to you, you need to step out of your comfort zone and get noticed and promoted. And that's exactly what I worked on with Sunita. She absolutely hated the idea of sharing her successes. She was senior in a consulting company and she wanted to be a director. And she'd been told to do that, she would have to become more visible to the senior people within the company. She needed people to know who she was, what her strengths were, and what her potential was. But her culture and her background had given her a belief and a strong rule about not blowing your own trumpet or talking about what you've achieved. So it was a really big mind shift that we worked on, getting her to a place where she recognized that actually, I really don't have to do it the way that so-and-so is doing it and sounds dreadful. I can do it in a way that is actually collaborative and helps other people. So we worked on the opportunities that she had. She tried out plenty of strategies and we worked on her mindset. And I'm pleased to say she told me the other day that she has got her director role and she's really excited about the future. So on to my final secret in the get noticed and promoted formula. And it's all about asking for a pay rise or promotion. So the most common reason women don't go for promotions, they tell me, is that they're less likely to believe in their abilities or to take risks. So this theory was famously suggested following a research study at Hewlett-Packard, where males and females were tested on how and when they would apply for a promotion. In the study, they discovered that men would apply for a job when they thought they could do 60% of the job, but for women, it was nearer 100%. This led to the theory that women had less self-belief and would take fewer risks. So if you've decided you want to ask for a pay rise or promotion, then there are certain steps you must do before you ask. So step 1, do I really want it? There's no point going for a promotion if you're unsure if you actually want to do it, because you'll come over as not committed. But do ensure, if you decide not to, that it's not your inner critic holding you back and trying to keep you in the comfort zone of your own job, because that's just self-sabotage. Step 2, how visible are your successes and potentials? So this is what we've talked a lot about. Do your key stakeholders know what you've achieved? Would they be able to articulate your strengths? Would they advocate for you in a meeting to discuss your pay or promotion? Or do they really not know that much about you? So how visible are you? Step 3 would be to know your value. Find out what the marketplace salary is for your role. There are plenty of websites out there, such as glassdoor.co.uk, where you can find that information. And is the salary transparency within your organisation? Are there bands and grades? Can you get an idea of where you sit compared to others? Then think about, do you have a network? And if not, you need to build one. What is your relationship like with the key stakeholders? Do you have an advocate and a mentor? Having a network of connections who know what you do and have worked with you is a real strength when you're looking to be promoted. And as well, a network like that can keep you really positive when your inner critic and self-doubts pop up. And number 5, just ask. As I said, in a LinkedIn survey, 75% of women who asked for a pay rise got it. It may feel like one of the most uncomfortable conversations you could have, but asking in a way that's assertive and respectful shouldn't be uncomfortable. It's crazy that in 2021, we still find it difficult to discuss money and salaries. So that's my Get Noticed and Promoted 3 Secrets formula. And I really can't emphasize enough how important it is going to be in your career to master these. Because it's my prediction and this is just my prediction, but I'm making it from research and the study I've done, that the workplace culture has changed and is changing. And if you don't have the confidence to be visible, to get noticed and promoted, you'll be stuck where you are, frustrated in the job that you're doing. And think about what that's costing you. What is it costing you not to have that visibility mindset and to not get noticed and promoted? Think about it now. If you stay where you are, feeling like you are for the next 6 months, year, 2 years, how is that going to make you feel? Are you going to be angry and frustrated? Will your confidence take even more of a knock? Will you be resentful of the company and the people that work for you? Will you have to change companies and start again from fresh? What is it going to cost you financially in terms of the money that you're losing because you haven't got that promotion? What is it going to cost you in terms of your mental well-being to feel frustrated and resentful? And what's it going to do to your self-belief in the other areas of your life? But don't worry, because here's how we can fix this fast. And it does need to be fixed. Otherwise, as I said, you're going to be stuck, frustrated and unhappy. So here's the solution. I'd like to give you the opportunity to learn the strategies that I've learned from researching and working with hundreds of successful career women over the last 12 years. Let me tell you all about it. This is a way you can get hold of the exact strategies and exercises that I use with my clients and that have got them such fantastic results. It's a program where you're going to learn how to do 4 things so you can get the visibility, pay rise and promotion you deserve. And you'll get one-to-one support from me as you learn. So what will you be learning? Number 1, you're going to learn how to break nice girl conditioning, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, and to quieten your inner critic. That's the one who gives you all those negative thoughts and make you anxious. And this is really important because this is what's behind your confident mindset. When you can overcome these and not waste time being driven in negative thought circles, then you have the time and the confidence to really fly in your career. Secondly, I'll share with you my proven strategies for being heard in meetings with senior people, even if you're not the expert. Whether you already speak up but want to get truly heard and the credit for your ideas, or whether you don't speak up much at all, there'll be strategies there for you. The third thing you're going to learn is exactly how to communicate your opinions or your wants, or how to disagree assertively and with power. And this is a fantastic communication tool that will make a huge difference in how people respect you and in getting the things that you want. So the fourth thing I would be sharing with you is strategies to self-promote authentically and to increase your visibility both internally and externally, but all done in a way that really feels authentic and comfortable to you. And the final and fifth step is I'd be sharing with you a checklist on how to prepare to ask for a pay rise or promotion. All the things that you must take action on before you speak to your boss. And as well as that, I'll share with you the right way to ask. So these 5 things will enable you to get noticed and promoted even if you've never tried them before. I know if you follow these strategies consistently, you will get the recognition that you're looking for. And you'll also have the self-belief that you are good enough to achieve whatever career success that you want. You'll learn this all through a proven step-by-step system that I have perfected over the last 12 years. And as well as this, you'll have my online support to help you. So this is what the steps look like. So step 1, Learn how to ignore your inner critic and the rules and beliefs holding you back, whether it's perfectionism, imposter syndrome, nice girl conditioning, or all of them that hold you back. In step 2, you'll learn how to share your successes, self-promote, and gain the recognition from senior stakeholders internally and externally. In step 3, you'll follow an exact structure to enable you to speak up assertively and with confidence. That means that you can value yourself and your needs while still respecting the other person, which tends to very often avoid any form of conflict or confrontation. In step 4, you'll discover the strategies that will enable you to speak up with power and impact in meetings, groups, and one-to-ones, no matter how difficult the conversation is or how intimidating the situation is. And step 5, as I said, you'll have a checklist on what you must prepare to ask for a pay rise or promotion. And I'll also give you guidance on the right way to do the asking. So who does this work for? Well, it works for senior career women who feel stuck and dissatisfied in their role. It also works for career women who are looking to make their first step into senior management, but doubting themselves. I've used this process with women whose fear of what others think is stopping them from sharing their successes and being truly visible. Or if you're a woman who's frustrated at seeing others promoted above you, then this will work for you. And also for senior career women who are really fed up of overworking, overcommitting, and overthinking. And here's a success from somebody who's done this program. I just asked for a pay rise, as we discussed, Joe, and I'm so pleased I valued myself enough to ask. And guess what? I got it. A fantastic success for Kate there. So again, this is a proven step-by-step program which I've used with all my clients, and that's why I know it works. And you can get started today for just £697, reduced down from £1,497. And there is some more good news, because I've also got some extra stuff that I'm going to give you as well. But in essence, you can get started today on the step-by-step process for just £697. And it includes online support from me for 30 days. And as well, I'm going to give you a couple of bonuses for just being here and listening. Bonus 1 is you will get an extra module, which is great because I'm going to share with you in that exactly what you need to do to have confident body language, vocal tone, and pitch, so that in all your conversations you can sound with impact and confidence. The second bonus I've got for you is an opportunity to have a 60-minute one-to-one coaching call with me to explore your specific career confidence challenges. And that is actually worth £350 itself, so a fabulous bonus. So how does the program work then? Well, there are 5 modules in the program. In each of those modules, there are a number of videos that I've made, and each video will describe one element of the particular module. For each module, you'll also receive a workbook with questions and answers, questions and exercises, which will enable you to reflect on what I've talked about, but also to go away and apply it to your day-to-day job. Of course, there's the extra bonus module with its workbook on having confident body language and vocal flexibility. There's a second bonus of a 60-minute career coaching call with me, and I'm going to give you lifetime access to this training as well. And don't forget, most importantly, there will be one-to-one support from me online. You can see there the chat box. All you have to do is to send in your answers to questions or to some of the work you've been reflecting on, and I'll give you some feedback. Or you can ask me a question about the module you're working on. So you get one-to-one support from me online for 30 days, but you get to keep the training for a lifetime. And just on top of this, still keeps coming, I'm offering you a no risk guarantee. If within 14 days you go through the steps and implement what I've shown you, and you aren't convinced that this will help you get noticed and promoted, then I'll give you a full refund. And even more than that, I will let you keep the training too. Now, I strongly doubt this will happen, but as humans, we tend to focus on what we might lose rather than what we gain. So here's a safety net for you. So if this is something you want to do to get noticed and promoted, then you need to go straight away and do it now, because you need to remember what you will lose if you don't do it. And you can get started with this now. The whole program has a value of £1,497, but I'm giving it to you just for £697. So you can finally get noticed and promoted at work. So if this is something you really want to do, great, then straight away go to this link, careercoachingforwomen.org, and there you can sign up straight away, give the information of your email address, etc., put in the amount you're going to pay, and then you will receive all the information for your login details to get started in just a few minutes. So this is where you need to think about what's at stake, because money replenishes, but time does not. So if this is something you want to do, then, or don't want to do, then that's fine. But if it's something you do want to do, then I suggest you do it straight away, because you'll never get back the time that you've spent being overlooked already and undervalued. Because time never comes back, but money does. Especially money that's invested correctly. It not only comes back, but it multiplies when you get that pay rise or promotion. And this offer will close. It won't be around for long, because I can only support a limited amount of people on this program, and to allow me to have enough time to spend with my coaching clients. So unfortunately, if you don't get your place quickly, you'll miss out not only on this offer price, but you might miss out altogether. And I really wouldn't want that for you. And, you know, as I said, I can only support a limited number of people, and the price itself is only for a limited period too. So this is a success that Sarah had on this program. She said, I never knew that my self-doubts were normal and I could quieten my inner critic. I've learned so much and been able to apply it to my day-to-day work, and I highly recommend this program. Because Sarah's done fantastically well, because I remember her working through the first module all about the inner critic and imposter syndrome, and she's worked really hard to achieve this results. So congratulations, Sarah. And then another one from Asha. I've done online programs before and not seen much benefit, but the content and the support from Joe has been amazing. My boss asked me what I changed to make me so confident, so that says it all. Thank you, Asha. So you can see how you can very quickly get noticed and promoted with this formula. And with the bonuses of an extra module on communicating powerfully and a career coaching call with me. This is why it's worth more than twice the price, because you're investing $697, but you're getting back the opportunity to increase your salary and confidence, not just once, but that increase sits in your salary year to year and may mean that you'll get even bigger increases in the future. So in reality, it's worth so much more. So what's at stake? Well, not achieving your career potential, always thinking what if and feeling dissatisfied. If you've looked at studies of happiness in the workplace, the figures for women are much lower than they have ever been. More women are dissatisfied in their career. They're stressed and overworked and undervalued. And that's why you need to take action now. And that's what's truly at stake. So if this is for you, then the link's just at the bottom of the page, careercoachingforwomen.org. And as I said, it won't be around forever because I've limited time to support everybody. As well as the bonuses you'll get, the 30 days access to my support online, you'll get this training for life, and you'll be able to work through the workbooks, send me your answers in, and I can also give you other ideas and support. And you can get started straight away. But if you can't do this in one payment of $697, then there is an option to pay in 3 monthly installments of $267. I want as many people as possible that I can support to get this program. So for that reason, there is an installment of 3 monthly installments of $267. You'll still get the full system, and with my one-to-one support online, the 2 bonus modules, the 60 minutes coaching call with me, all for 3 monthly payments of $267 or a one-off payment of $697. So if this resonates with you at all, and you've been trying to achieve this the hard way so far, if you've been battling with self-doubts, a difficult workplace culture, or just a lack of self-belief, then take it from me. You really do need this. And, I really wish it had been around when I was struggling in my career. If I'd been able to look at videos of how to behave, of how to build up my confidence, of strategies to be visible, and to have the support of a coach online with me, then that would have been absolutely fantastic, and I'd have jumped at it. But instead, you've got the benefit of the work that I did, the benefit of all the research that I've done with successful women and women developing their careers. And that's what I've put into this. You'll see in there real life stories of my clients, and you'll understand the changes they've been able to make and that you can make too. So head over to careercoachingforwomen.org. And when you're there, you just need to put in a few details and pay either your first monthly installment of $267 or the full amount of $697. And then you'll receive your details to sign in on my website under my account, and you'll get started straight away. You'll get the videos, the workbooks, the documents and exercises, and you'll get access to me for 30 days. So head over to careercoachingforwomen.org, fill in your details, get started, and make sure that you get noticed and promoted in 2021 in just 30 days. So thanks for listening to this training. I hope you found it helpful, and I'd love to see you shortly.